what is meant by the hidden job market. Pam, you want to start?
Sure. I mean, in my opinion, it's just about jobs that aren't advertised. These are the jobs that aren't out there on Monster and Hot Jobs. These are the jobs that people aren't receiving thousands of resumes for yet because they've either just started thinking about them, just started asking their inner circle for referrals, or maybe they haven't even created it yet. Maybe they know they need something, and there's an opportunity for someone to come in and volunteer the perfect role, the perfect person for the perfect role.
Terrific. Would anyone like to add to that?
I would just say, you know, employers hire from within a lot. I mean, when I was in my corporate role, I hired a third of my new opportunities by moving people around internally. So the way you discover what jobs are inside that haven't come out yet really comes back to the whole networking and using LinkedIn as a tool to develop that type of intel. Very important.
Terrific. Anyone else want to add anything? Rose?
Yes, I just want to, in the type of economy, as you know, being HR director in real estate, and of course we had its peaks and valleys, and we went through a downtime, and now we're going through an uptime, which is wonderful. Rentals really prevailed when sales were down because people needed a place to live. And now we're renting one apartment an hour, which is terrific. It's phenomenal. It's holding its own with sales, which were lukewarm, but now are on the upswing because the prices are down, people feel it's a bargain, mortgage rates, etc. But most of the jobs now, we've been downsized, we're working with what we have, and we feel that we're going to need to start recruiting. But here's the thing, we're not using research firms right now because they cost. So what we are doing is referrals. 80% of our positions, they're probably not advertised. It's who you know. Where did you go? Who did you meet? But you know, some statistics are very interesting. 6% in good times, this is in good times, fabulous times, 6% of jobs are obtained through ads. Craigslist, whatever it is, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you know. Monster, Hot Jobs, but 3% are with search firms. Now we look at that, and we also look at, there's a million resumes coming into corporate America, and really with 2 companies, we have probably about 1 million resumes a year. How much can you look at? You know, we have systems, I recruit, I look at buzzwords, etc. But is it about buzzwords when you find the ideal candidate? Because the ideal candidate is no longer matching that ideal candidate to that job description, the resume to the job description. We're now matching the ideal candidate to strategic planning. What do we need in talent? And when we look at that resume, I'll make this quickly, we look at the best performance, the past performance of that individual is the greatest predictor of future performance with that candidate. And that's how we really look at it. So what works now? 5% of jobs we look on ads, 5% people are using search firms, but we don't want to pay the fees. And now it's 90% networking.
Wow,
Referrals.
Powerful numbers. Thank you, Rose. That's really powerful numbers. Tells you want to know some good people. So, terrific. Misa, you want to add anything to that?
I would just add one quick story. We all know that just like finance, the legal industry has been hammered very hard during this time. And just recently this year, Vault partnered with the New York City Bar Association to hold an event for lawyers in transition. And one of the key things that everybody was told, it was sort of, you know, a secret for that audience, but I'm going to share it with you guys now, is that one of the directors of recruiting from a top 10 Vault-ranked law firm told us that if your resume gets to her inbox through one of the associates at her law firm or somebody that works at the firm, she will read that resume personally. And I'm sure that's not unique to her organization. So whether or not you're best friends with someone at a company that you want to work for, they don't need to necessarily write a page-long recommendation about why you should work there. But if you can have someone pass along your resume to a director of human resources, that director of human resources will read it, and then it will go down the chain. You don't have to start at the coordinator level and work your way up. So that's just one little tip that I would give.
It's a great point, and I would add, so many people I know have never looked for a job before, or they've been in the same position for 10, 15, 20 years, and then all of a sudden we have this downturn. So it's important to know. The obvious thing to do is you respond to ads or you go on job boards, but really just knowing somebody or asking for an introduction to somebody who can hand your resume to the right person makes all the difference in the world. So thank you, Misa. Rose, you have a quick comment, then we'll go to Brian.
Piggyback on that.
Okay, sure.
It's true with the law firms. In our classes as an adjunct professor at NYU in recruitment and selection, we want to make sure that you're asking the right legal questions to get that individual on board. So we have law firms come in, Proskauer, Rose. We also have Jackson Lewis. And even with Jackson Lewis, if you bring your resume in, I mean, that's a networking process in the classroom itself. So we give and we build that on the business module. They're there. Take advantage of that time and ask them, give them your resume. And we'll talk about that later, the structuring of the resume. That really makes it hard-hitting.
Great. Okay. Terrific. So can we, Brian, would you like to add something? And then Sean, and we'll go on to the next question. Is that good? Okay, great.
I was going to say, I think the other panelists covered it.
Okay, terrific. Sean? Thanks.
Just to remember that every person you meet really is a doorway to an opportunity. And not to forget that. We oftentimes, you know, in our day-to-day, the person that we buy our coffee from, who do we sit next to on the bus? Who do we engage with when we take our kids to their swim lessons? Plug for Swim Strong. But everyone has networks, and they are the doorway to another opportunity. Please don't forget that.
I just heard another one yesterday. The proverbial network with your dentist. I actually heard how it worked yesterday. Somebody I know was networking with her dentist and actually got a great opportunity, possibly. So it can happen. So you have to be able to have your mouth closed.